Hello YouTube! I have exciting news because the blindfolded 120 star speedrun is just around the corner. We are now in the final months or maybe weeks of preparation before we can actually start doing proper speedruns again after, what was it now, 4 years or something. And the most exciting part about all of this is that even still right now we are finding new techniques and new ways to help us navigate the game blindfolded, which is incredible to me. The first technique that we are going to talk about is so incredibly powerful for blindfolded 120 star that it completely changes the game and the way I personally think about the game in my head. It might not even be so special if you think about it, but we never really understood or noticed it, at least not me. And how it all started. I was grinding the 100 coin star in Shifting Sandland, the currently hardest star of the game, and we were struggling. I was struggling quite a bit because I could not figure out and memorize the camera angles in many of the places, because the camera in Shifting Sandland goes all over the place. And what a random chat message from my friend Johannes said completely changed everything. So if you go to the leaderboards of Blindfolded SM64 and actually check who is a very good player these days, it is Johannes, currently 4th place in 16 star, I think 2nd place in Beat the Dark World, incredibly talented player really, huge respect for Johannes, and Johannes has figured out one thing. So let's jump right into the game. I'm gonna showcase you what I actually mean. So what Johannes wrote is that no matter where you are in the stage, if you go neutral in the camera, you will always face the pyramid. What does that mean? So Mario 64 camera is a bit weird. It has, you can like see right, see left, and what I usually in my head always did was I did see left max, for example. That means like all the way to the left, or see right max all the way to the right. And then based on this, I tried to imagine how the stage looks like in my head based on like where I am. For example, if I'm here at this structure, I was like, okay, if I do see left max, then I'm gonna face this box with the red coin. Kind of. That was like my thought process when I was doing blindfolded all over all the last decade basically. And Johannes said this one thing, that always when you go neutral in the camera, you will face the pyramid in this stage. Like this. And this leads to the biggest development ever. This leads to camera anchor points. So this might be completely common knowledge. Again, I personally did not know about this, and I doubt that any blindfolded player knew about this. But this is huge. This is like really huge, specifically for blindfolded 120 star, because it helps us not really to make things faster, but to back things up so consistently. No matter where we are, we can now play the game and improvise no matter what happens. So how does this work? You don't need any knowledge of the stage, of the camera, of where you exactly are. If you hit C left max and then once C right, that brings the camera to neutral. You will face the pyramid. If I am here at this structure, I hit C left max, C right, C left max, C right. Straight ahead is the pyramid. So now, what does that mean? I don't need to memorize 500 different camera inputs for every part of the stage. Like for example, if I'm here at the cannon, one more example, because here I was always so confused in my brain, because here when you do C left max, C right, the camera is like flipped, but it makes sense because it faces the pyramid. That's an anchor point of the camera. If you go across the pyramid, it's again the exact opposite thing. So if I'm here and now I do C left, I face this wall, but if I do C right, I face here. What I used to do in my brain is memorize every single camera input of the game. Here, C left twice, then here 1 C right. If you are here, do 2 C rights, 1 C left. I memorized everything back in the days. Now I I can literally delete terabytes of memory, bro, from my brain because I don't need that knowledge anymore. No matter where I am in the stage, the only thing I need to know is, okay, where's the anchor point? It's the pyramid. So if I'm here somewhere, I know I'm somewhere here at the pokey, I do C left, max C right, I know I'm facing here, and then I can adjust. So if I know I'm facing here, but I want to go to the pillar, right? That means like, okay, 45 degrees, one more C right and hold up. And I can navigate the entire stage. That is huge. So how does that actually work? If we have any kind of stage, let's say a shifting sandland, most stages, funnily enough, have an anchor point like this. We are, as Mario, we are chilling right here. And then we having the anchor point in orange, let's say here, correct? So Mario's it's actually very, very simple, and that's what makes it so easy to memorize. Mario's camera always has exactly 5 states. It has C left max, like C left max -1, neutral, C right 1, and C right 2. You always in this game have 5 camera states. And no matter where you are in a stage, the neutral point always faces towards an anchor. What that means is that you can really reliably adjust the camera based on which stage you are, as long as you know the anchor point, because you can always go neutral and then just go 1 C left for 45 degrees, 2 C left for like 90 degrees, approximately. It's not exactly that, but you can really, really nicely back things up, as long as you know where neutral is facing. And you have this like super nice angle management now, and that does not only work in SSL, because that was just Johannes' idea with the pyramid, right? We have figured out that works in like every single stage that has this camera, with a few exceptions. For example, HMC has a different camera. HMC has this like weird, it follows Mario from behind, and if you do C left, it like doesn't, it just follows around. There's the same thing in Snowman's Land. It has the dynamic camera, what we call. Those cameras are horrible for blindfolded, but most of the stages do have an anchor point. So let's go quickly through the list here. In Bob on Battlefield, again, very big stage, especially the 100 coin star is like super long and complex. We can remove all of the memory of the camera because we know no matter where we are, the center point is the top of the mountain. Boom. We are facing the mountain. If I go here, again, it doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter if I know exactly how the camera looks. I do C left max, C right, and I know, I'm facing exactly the mountain. Womp's Fortress. So no matter where you are, C left max, C right, you are facing exactly to the tower. Cool Mountain. Cool Mountain, again, very, very clear structure. No matter where you are, you center and you face the top of the mountain. So you can always exactly know, doesn't matter where on the mountain you are, on the circle around it, you can always just go neutral and then adjust. Leaf Lava Land, another anchor point map. The anchor point in Leaf Lava Land is a bit funny because it's not really centered in, you would think it's the volcano, right? But it's not. The anchor point is behind the platform of the big bully star. And it's like a tiny bit behind it as well. But no matter where you are, you know how to center towards the bully platform, and based on that you can do backups. Wet Dry World also has an anchor point. The anchor point in Wet Dry World is a bit weird because it's not in the center of the stage. It's similar to Leaf Lava Land, but even worse, it's in the corner. So if I'm, for example, here, C left max, C right, you can see I'm facing the exact corner of the stage, which still is super valuable information because no matter where you are, whether you're on this side or on this side, it doesn't matter because you know C left max, C right will face you to this corner. And backups are so easy. I cannot overstate this. This is the biggest discovery for blindfolded like ever. Tall mountain, again, very similar to CCM. It's literally just the top of the mountain. So C left max, C right, and you always will face straight, which is very good because if you, for example, fall down, right, from the mountain, I don't know, you do whatever, you get lost here in the water, you fall down, panic, chaos, you have 99 coins, you just need one more coin, and then you are lost, you are blindfolded. Which direction is the cliff? Where do I die? Where can I safely hold? Well, now we don't need a backup. We just do C left max, C right, and we know the pit is on the bottom behind us. Straight up ahead is the mountain. And based on that, we can now back things up. It's amazing. THI also has an anchor point. The anchor point in THI is, funnily enough, a bit not centered. It's not exactly the mountain here, but it's like above these coins. It's above these coins here. So if you go wherever here, C left max, C right, you can see, yeah, it's like somewhere above these coins. But like, again, still super valuable knowledge. And funnily enough, I don't know if that's true. Don't quote me on that, but there is sometimes, you might know, whenever you're on this bridge, the camera bugs out. You can see like it moves, and then you can basically circle around. There's no C left max anymore. And that is because you are standing inside the anchor point, and that changes the camera behavior. It now makes sense. I don't know if that's the reason, but like in my brain it makes sense. It's the same in the big island as well. TTC also very interesting, because imagine you fall down somewhere, right? Like you don't know where you are, you just climb all the way and suddenly you fall down. Again, where is the pit? Can I hold left? Can I hold right? The center point of TTC, it's interesting because I don't know exactly if it's above you or below you or something, but the center point always faces towards the wall. No matter where you are in that stage, if you do C left max C right, you always face upwards to the wall, which is super good for backups. Again, doesn't matter where you are, you know always where exactly the wall is. So you see, it always just faces straight to the wall in the shortest path. If you're here, boom, to this wall. If you are here, C left max C right, boom, this wall. So it really helps with the thinking process. Last stage here, Rainbow Ride, has no anchor point because it has a completely different camera. It has the same camera as Bowser stages, for example, where you just have the cardinal directions locked in. So yeah, these are anchor points, an incredibly powerful technique that we have never discovered before. And yeah, now we can just back up everything on the fly. Already now, in 100 coin stars especially, when I grinded and practiced for 120 star, this helped so much. I was able to flawlessly and cleanly back up things that you could have never imagined a couple of years ago, just because I know the stage layout plus the camera anchor point, and I can now play the game without eyes, like fully improvised. But that is also not all, because we have found even more techniques to make Blindfolded Super Mario 64 even better and even more fluid. And the next technique I'm gonna show you is actually really complicated, and I honestly don't really know how it works myself, because this is a Pandora's box that I think nobody knows yet, but it involves the locked camera. So, for those who don't know what the locked camera is, this is a feature that probably most of you have not seen yet if you have not watched Blindfolded runs. The locked camera can be selected on the menu on the very bottom here, and you can switch out the Mario cam, which zooms in behind Mario, and you can make a locked camera while holding the button, and the camera, well, stays locked in place and you can move around. Nobody has an idea why this is in the game. It's like, people say it's like from a potential co-op mode or something. I don't know, but we are grateful. This is the best thing ever made for blindfolded speedruns, and like only for blindfolded speedruns. It's so funny. Because, of course, like if the camera moves around and you have setups, right? What could be better than to click a button and you always know where the camera is and always know where Mario is and stuff, because you can now just notch into directions with a fixed like camera state, you know what I mean? So we use this for a lot of setups, especially for precise setups, because for example here, to reach the log of the chain jump, right? What we do is punch, 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 C right max, lock the cam, because that also changes Mario's movement patterns, right? So now if we hold straight left, you can see Mario is doing like a circle and he perfectly moves towards that log. We can make really nice setups with this to make full use of the notches to not go like in between or something. We can make things consistent. So what I want to show you now is even back in the days, like in 2018 or something, like the first couple of years of Blindfolded Super Mario 64, we already made use of the locked camera in a very specific and weird way. Look at Amazing Exit in HMC back in like, I don't know, 2018 or 2019. What we do is we use the locked camera in combination with the see up camera, the first person look around view, because you can also lock the camera while holding the see up, and that makes you able to look into a specific direction that you want and then lock the camera for very nice and specific setups. Like here, up right notch will perfectly go into this corner after holding C up and locking the cam. Very specific stuff, but it really helps for blindfolded, right? But this is just the beginning. This is nothing yet. What Dusserbite has found out. Dusserbite is our human brute forcer of blindfolded setups, always coming up with very creative ways to finish different kinds of scenarios in blindfolded. Dusserbite has come up with a new technique utilizing the see up and the lock cam. So what does a new technique even look like? And I think this is something that like nobody has ever used before. What you do is you hold see up into a direction, for example down left. Then you lock the camera and then you unpress and you see the camera is like a bit, it's shaking around, and it always was really inconsistent like this because of the pan of the camera influences where you hold up, for example, where Mario goes. It's like it was always a bit jank and nobody understood how it works because the lock cam is, as I said, kind of a Pandora's box. But we also have buffers in Blindfolded SM64. For example, the crouch buffer or Z buffer, where you perfectly hold a notch during the animation. Or pause buffering, where you hold the stick and then unpause, and Mario does a perfect right input. Now, we can combine all of these techniques into one ultimate, super complex, but useful technique. So we can hold a direction with C up, lock the cam, cancel it, and now if we want to go into a very specific direction, we see up while we are in lock cam. And now during the see up, we can hold up the button. You can see Mario's head is going down. And this effectively buffers the up input inside a see up lock cam. I know lots of fancy words, but what it does is if you press A now, Mario goes exactly upwards. Exactly upwards. This has crazy implications. Really, unthinkable setups. So in 100 coins in CCM, what we usually do is we want to grab this blue coin here, and then what we used to do is like do a very difficult and precise beat count to drop down here, go like neutral, fall all the way down, and then count another ground pound so that we perfectly land on these coins. This had like a success rate of maybe 30%. This was incredibly rough, and you had to do it every time to even just start the attempt of 100 coins. Now Dusserbite came with the new technique. Do not ask me. Really, do not ask me how Dusserbite found these setups. I have no clue. It is wild to me. I think it's just a whole lot of brute forcing. So what Dusserbite found out is if you go to this specific corner, punch it, hold right in the lock cam and lock it. Now this is still not really anything with the C up. This is just what we used to do also in 2018, right? Using the C up, locking the cam into a direction we look at. So this is nothing new yet, but still cool. So then from here we go into this corner, kick it, 1, 2, 3 punches, And now comes the funny part, because according to Dasabite, this is like pixel perfect. There's no way this would ever work otherwise. If you just hold up, it doesn't work. If you Z buffer up, it doesn't work. If you pause buffer up, it does not work. But if you combine this now with the C up cancel, you see Mario's head is going down. And now what I said, we get a perfect straight upwards input, right? If we unlock. And if we do that, look at the coin counter. You will not be able to see, but 1, okay, we got the 5 coins. And now I'm gonna release the lock cam so you can see. We are hitting all these coins in a straight line, bonking against the invisible wall at the end of the slide. We fall down, land back on the slide into this coin. We get an extra coin for the route. And more than anything, we are perfectly online for this thing without basically any input. And it all just works because Dasabite has found the straight line through the coins, into the wall, back on the rebound into the other coin, and then slide back into the coin rows. And you might think, oh god, this is so specific, right? Dasabite already found improvements with this new technique for like, I don't know, around 10 stars. It's wild. It's really wild. This is nothing you would ever see in a normal play. First of all, nobody uses the lock cam. Who comes to the idea to see up during the lock cam, first of all? But okay, we did that already in 2018. But also, see up, lock cam, and then buffer Mario with another see up while in the lock. I don't know. This is just like so many levels of complex, and I love it. I love it a lot, and it helps for the Blindfolded 120 star run. And as you can tell, we are super close to the finish line. We are probably around July to August gonna go for full runs, and all of these techniques will be present, so I hope you look forward to that. Huge shoutouts to both Johannes and Dasabite and all the other people in the community who contribute to these new techniques and findings. And also, of course, huge shoutouts to all of my patrons for sustaining me while I pursue my blindfolded speedrunning career. Huge shoutouts, of course, to Boris, Bob Farrell, KingReubs, Sara, FoamQueen, FirstClassCitizen, Pat Speedruns, and Marcus Venturini. All of my other patrons as well, of course. Thank you so much. And see you soon, I guess, with more blindfolded 120 star speedruns. Hope you enjoyed this little bit of a new format of like freestyle without script. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.